Then we have arrived to the session about HelpSystems. It's a partner for Move in the information and security area. And together with me here, I have with me Nick Hogg. Welcome, Nick.
Hi there. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. So, a lot of our customers is familiar with Go Anywhere from HelpSystems. HelpSystems is working in the intelligent automation and security area, and they have bought some companies in the last 18 months, and that is very, very interesting about how we can build information flow and security regarding that. So if you go into the way of building security, a lot of our customers is used today to have a secure area that reduce the scope. That's of course good. You will protect both the application and the information, and it gives you a possibility to work online with the information when it's stored in your data center. And we also see solutions regarding data leak prevention, where you secure the information. Not so concerned about the place, but you do classification and encryption. Of course, that's dependent on the format, and the security can follow the information. So that is a way of thinking we have seen from Microsoft, and that can be used in different areas. And of course, you can combine those two technology, both do the limitation of the scope, and then put a border control that is automated based on the classification. So we is seeing that with this new functionality from HelpSystems, we get a lot of new tools into the secure area. And those tools will be regarding to these areas. Data classification, to classify information regarding confidentiality, things like that. You have the adaptive data leak prevention, so you can put a border not around only your PC, but around your whole information storage. You have a managed file transfer, of course. You maybe need to move the information, and then you can combine this technology with the managed file transfer. And then you have digital right management, where you put security around your document. So these are areas that now HelpSystems are very strong in, and Nick will now give you a little bit presentation of what kind of functionality will we see here melting together in this platform.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So what I wanted to do is just give you a very high level overview of the HelpSystems Data Security Suite. This is actually part of a much larger portfolio of solutions that can help with your data security. There's identity and access management, penetration testing tools, and so on. But with the Data Security Suite, I think this gives us some of the most effective ways to essentially wrap security around our sensitive information in a way where we can protect it, we can ensure that we can share it with the correct people both inside and outside of the organization, and do all of that without becoming an unnecessary barrier to your organization's day-to-day business processes. We're not saying that we're the complete answer to all of your data security requirements, but we can be an integral part of your overall data security strategy. We can complement your processes and be there as a last line of defense in the event that one of your employees makes a mistake when handling sensitive data. So you can use our data classification solutions to understand what your sensitive data is and where it lives within your environment. You can use our adaptive DLP solutions to govern how that data is being shared both inside and outside of the organization. And you can use the managed file transfer and the digital rights management solutions to protect your sensitive data to ensure that when it's being shared appropriately, it's also being shared securely. What I want to do now is just drill down and give you a very high level overview of each of these components. With the data classification solutions, these allow you to wrap the security around the most sensitive data within your environment. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can give your end users, your employees, the ability to manually classify documents and data as they're creating it or receiving it from business partners and customers. And you can use plugins into common office applications like Word and Excel mail clients like Outlook, or even AutoCAD software to give the end user the ability to manually classify the data, because typically they're the people who should understand the sensitivity of that data. But you can back that up with the machine learning. So if a user misclassifies personally identifiable information or healthcare data, then you have the ability to enforce the correct level of classification and educate the end user within there. And you can use the automation mechanisms to scan the local drives, the network shares, and the corporate cloud storage to look for your sensitive data and classify that appropriately. And that can take a lot of the initial manual workload out of classifying the data. Once you've classified the data, you can differentiate between what's sensitive to the organization and what is more common information that can be surely freed. And then you can wrap the right level of security around that sensitive information. One of the ways you can do that is with our adaptive data loss prevention controls. They can plug into your managed file transfer traffic from the likes of Go through Go Anywhere. They can deploy into your email traffic, your web traffic at the endpoint. And we can look for the classification tags that something like a Titus or a Bolden James has put into your sensitive data. And we can use that to block it or ensure that it's only being shared with the right people, both inside or outside of the organization. But on top of that, we can also use our redaction and our sanitization mechanisms to look for the sensitive information. And rather than blocking the whole communication and potentially becoming a barrier to a legitimate business process, we can actually go in and we can redact out the sensitive information. So it could be that one of your employees is trying to share a PDF through Go Anywhere with a business partner. And in Appendix D of that, there's one thing that looks like it's maybe a social security number or a medical number. Rather than blocking that whole transfer, we can simply go in there, redact out the sensitive data, and once we're happy that there's no other data risks within there, you can allow that data to be shared. And what we see in practice is that gives you a very effective way of ensuring that you're protecting the sensitive data, that you're working within your compliance requirements, but do it in a way where you're not becoming a barrier to legitimate business processes or increasing the management overhead around false positives and so on. With the managed file transfer solutions, these give you a nice secure platform for sharing data, both inside and outside of the organization. You can use the ad hoc processes where you're potentially giving your users an easy to use mechanism for sharing large files with a business partner or a customer. You can use the automated mechanisms to look for those repetitive pieces of data sharing that are happening and automate them with the nice workflows and processes within there, get the visibility that those data transfers have happened successfully, get the audit controls to understand what has been transferred for maybe compliance purposes. Importantly, you can plug our adaptive DLP controls in the form of our ICAP gateway into that managed file transfer traffic to ensure that the MFT flow doesn't become a risk for ransomware or malware coming into the organization, but also to inspect the data that's been transferred to look for the classification tags, to look for the sensitive words or phrases or tokens like PII data to make sure that you're only sharing that data with the right people inside and outside of the organization.
Nick, I just a comment on that. And one question we had from a lot of customers regarding Go Anywhere as file transfer is that if someone does have an executable file that they have hide in some kind of else, we can't find it in Go Anywhere. That we can't find. But with this solution, the ICAP server will see that it's an executable file that is hidden in, for instance, a PDF document or something, and we can stop it. So it's increasing the security level when you are sharing information to and from security areas. So that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. With the ICAP gateway, we will take all the traffic that crosses your Go Anywhere to pieces into its individual parts. We can analyze that, and then we can look at the policy you've put in place for the users, the sources, the destinations to say, is this file type, is this data appropriate for being transferred? Could be a simple executable file, could be a known piece of malware, could be just some active content in a PDF file that could be the vector for the malware or the ransomware to come into the organization, or it could be things like an AutoCAD file or sensitive data files that you don't want to leak outside of the business. And then the last piece we have is the digital rights management. This, I think, is very effective at securing your data because it gives you a way to control who can access that data, even once it's outside of the traditional organization's boundary. So we can take a file, we can encrypt it using AES 256 encryption. We can wrap an access control list around that to say who is able to access the file. And then on top of that, you can put a permission list to say, even if this individual can open a PDF file, they may only be able to view it. They might not be able to print it off or take a screenshot of that. So that means you can share maybe sensitive data like even something as simple as a price list with the business partner. You can know that they will be the only person who is able to open that file. If they were to forward that on to a third party like a competitor, then you have the confidence of knowing the competitor wouldn't be able to open the file. And actually you would get a notification that somebody who's not authorized has tried to view that data. So that's how you can take the individual components within the data security suite and kind of merge them together to give you a very coherent picture and mechanism for securing your sensitive information.
Can you give a little comment, Nick? This is coming from very good brands that you have bought the last period. And I think you have a big job to merge this together to a common platform. Can you say a little bit about that work and how it's going on?
Absolutely. So it's a fair point. We've gone through a very strong acquisition process and it's not finished. Trust us, there'll be more things coming. We've chosen some very best of breed solutions to bring in. Now, one of the advantages is we already have integrations between the likes of Go Anywhere and ClearSwift. ClearSwift can find the data classification tags. You have the integrations between something like Titus and Vera, where when you manually assign a classification level to a document within Titus, that will automatically trigger Vera to apply the digital rights management. What we're working on just now is a project called HelpSystems 1. That's going to bring all these solutions together under one umbrella, one common launching platform. And then as you go forward, we're looking at a number of kind of quite interesting integrations between them where more and more you'll be able to just go into Go Anywhere and say, well, actually, I want to deploy the DLP component here, and it's a couple of switches to turn on, or I want to deploy the data classification, and this is the policy I want to put in place. So we're certainly pulling everything together over the next sort of 12 to 24 months. HelpSystems 1 is coming on line later this year, but as I said, there's a lot of integrations between the products today, so you don't have to wait for HelpSystems 1 to actually start to see the advantages of deploying a ClearSwift ICAP gateway alongside Go Anywhere or deploying the data classification solutions and the DRM solutions in those environments.
Very nice. We are looking really forward to, we have started to work with some of the products already, and we are looking forward to go into the whole suite and see all this coming together in the coming months. It's very, very interesting and give us a new perspective of the total security possibilities. So just to wrap up, I think that's what I started with. I will end with this. And I think we will see this used both in combination with area protection and in combination with more open areas, where you only protect information. That will depend on the kind of solution you are looking for, the kind of information you shall protect. But it gives us a lot of new mechanism, and we are really looking forward to take this out to our customer. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you very much for having me.